There we go. I don't know what that was. I saw that too, and I thought I was, but then when I went back off the screen here, I realized that I wasn't. So there we go. All right. Mary, yes.
So Baraka, I have a question for you. When you said you don't think you're there yet, do you think, knowing what you know, that you've just forgotten that you're there? Or that you sometimes forget that you're there?
To be perfectly honest, I'm not, I don't know if I could bring myself to the awareness of being there at this moment.
Not at this moment, but in general, like when you have a moment of clarity, then don't you remember, oh yes, I'm there, but I've just forgotten?
I have not ever, I don't ever have a memory of myself being in that moment of clarity.
Oh, I that surprises me.
Yeah, well,
me too.
It does too, because and until having read that paragraph, I would not have admitted that. But to be perfectly honest, I don't see myself as attaining that in this moment, in where I am right now. I understand those words. I see them as being the true definition of what a teacher of God is, but I don't. When I read that, it feels like I'm having to separate myself from everything else, including all of you. Like I have to somehow be better than everyone else to be able to do this. And I know that's my ego talking. I know it is. But
Is that the truth?
no, it's
You
not.
know that is, well, then you know the truth when you know that's not the truth.
Good for you,
Yeah.
Virginia.
I agree with Virginia. That's a moment of clarity.
Yeah, it is. And if I have to tell myself, I really have to tell myself that that is not who I am, that denial
Yeah.
of that qualification. But in this moment, at this time, I have not been able to generate the positivity of being able to be there.
But if one of us was, then we wouldn't be seen separately, would we?
Well, there's that. There is that. I would not have I would not be truly committed to this work unless I could say that none of this matters, because the only thing that matters is the will of God. And at the moment, all of this matters. All of us, all of the world, all the universe matters to me. And the thing that is sort of messing up my involvement in the equation is that if it didn't matter to me, we wouldn't be having these meetings.
We all have that intention to be together and support one another to be in that place, don't we? But I don't think we can do more than that. I think what we do is huge, all of us, because our intention is pure.
I think it varies though, but moment to moment, depending on what we choose to think. Mine does, at least. My state of clarity, my awareness of love's presence within me can kind of go on and off like a electric current, depending on what I choose to think.
Oh yes, yeah, I totally agree with that, Mary.
yes.
And I can
That makes
choose
sense.
on,
That makes sense. It goes on and off. And then if it's off and I'm starting to have human
Fear.
feelings, then I can remind myself, whoa, hold on.
Mhm. That's when I take in the deep breath and I'm, connected again.
Well, maybe there's some solutions to this in the following paragraphs. Let's take a look. Who wants to read the next paragraph?
I can.
Please do.
Paragraph number 2. Thus does the Son of Man become the Son of God. It is not really a change. It is a change of mind. Nothing external alters, but everything internal now reflects only the love of God. God can no longer be feared, for the mind sees no cause for punishment. God's teachers appear to be many, for that is what is the world's need. Yet being joined in one purpose, and one they share with God, how could they be separate from each other? What does it matter if they then appear in many forms? Their minds are one. Their joining is complete. And God works through them now as one, for that is what they are.
Mm.
I had highlighted the sentence, nothing external alters, but everything internal now reflects only the love of God. So
I underlined that too.
my reticence in being able to see myself as the teacher of God is because I expect somehow that what I'm looking at with my eyes is going to transform, is going to, I don't know, go poof or turn into marshmallows and unicorns or something. But the fact of the matter is that what I'm looking at with my eyes, with my mind's eyes, does not need to change. It does not need to be different from what I'm looking at, because what is changing only is my ability to see the love of God in everything, no matter what it looks like. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that's really good. That's a relief.
So I'm going to forgive what these are seeing and what these are hearing and what this is tasting and what this is smelling. I'm going to forgive all that for not being, for being what I think it is, and instead take my own mind and forgive it for having perceived something that I thought was that I thought was not the will of God. I'm not going to allow that to be the truth of what I see. I'm not going to worry about marshmallows and unicorns and rainbows, because those things will not signify to me what the will of God is. My intention, let me think about this for a second. My intention is that I am going to allow whatever it is out there to be not the will of God, but being just my ego mind. And I don't have to worry about that anymore. I don't have to fix that. I don't have to rearrange the deck chairs on the Titanic, as they say. I'm going to forgive all of that and understand that what I really want is something that my eyes and my ears and my taste buds cannot perceive. Cannot. I don't have my body, my physical body doesn't have the ability to perceive that in any way, shape, or form. So now I'm going to allow the will of God to take over my perception of the world and be a monitor for truth. I can't think of any other words to say that. Any thoughts on that, please? Help me. I'm drowning here.
What are you?
But-
Rebecca? There's only one mind, and that's God's mind. That's the oneness of us all.
We all
And-
join in that, please.
That's what Vicky has been teaching. That's what James has been teaching. And they're encouraging us to dive deep to understand that. Love is all there is. There's nothing else. So we're just, as you said, rearranging deck chairs because we're trying to intellectually understand this. This is what's one of the first qualifications for a teacher of God: trust. You trust that this is so.
I hear you. Thank you.
It's not intellectual.
No, in fact, it's the opposite of intellectual, isn't it?
Mhm.
Yeah. Anybody else have any thoughts on this?
You know, I was reminded recently of it was a song that I wrote, and it was the very first song I ever wrote with words, and it was, I think it was in like 2004, and the song came because I had what I know now, looking back, was my first really conscious like moment of surrender. And I remember having thoughts like, you know, I was so depressed. I was close to suicide. And I was saying, I can't do it. I give up. You do it. You do it. Well, who's you? And that's when I thought, okay, I've just got to imagine, you know, who's my deity? Okay, it was Jesus. I was raised Catholic. And I pictured Jesus and I gave it up. I know now that was my like first conscious moment of real surrender to a higher power, and that lasted, you know, at least I got home, you know, and I wrote that song. It lasted that long, but now I'm, you know, what, close to 10 years, or wait, 20 years later. I think I'm 20 years later, and I still forget. I forget, and I have to resurrender. I have to remember. And Baraka, that's what, you know, I see you doing, you know, like you're saying, okay, I gotta give this to God. You know, I can't do it. My plan doesn't work, period. It's God's plan. And the sooner we get that, or the more often we get that, you know, because I do forget. I forgot for chunks of time. I forgot yesterday. I'll probably forget today. But at least I know what I'm forgetting. And that is a blessing beyond words.
Hmm. The remembering.
Get to know when
You know
I'm
it,
forgetting. And I know when I'm forgetting because I suffer. I suffer, period. And the suffering is good. It's my reminder.
Right.
That's really clear, Mary. Thank you.
Thank you, Margaret Rose.
Thank you. See, I knew I was going to be coming into this room and getting an answer that I needed. Thank you all very much. Thank you.
Thank you, Baraka.
Hmm. Let's go on to
Too.
paragraph number 3. And who wants to read?
I will.
Thank you.
Why is the illusion of many necessary? Only because reality is not understandable to the deluded. Only very few can hear God's voice at all. And even they cannot communicate his messages directly through the spirit which gave them. They need a medium through which communication becomes possible to those who don't realize they are spirit. A body they can see, a voice they understand and listen to without the fear that truth would encounter them in them. Do not forget that truth can come only where it is welcomed without fear. So do God's teachers need a body, for their unity could not be recognized directly. That's a lot.
Ooh. Wow. So
That line, do not forget that truth can come only where it is welcomed without fear. That's a really
Yeah.
powerful line.
Yes.
so if there were just a voice for God shouting out of the heavens, not apparently coming from any body, that would seriously be a moment of fear for a lot of people.
That's
Well,
true.
yeah, even for us who believe.
I think it would be a moment of fear for me, actually.
Yeah.
Definitely.
And then celebration.
Well, yes, but in the moment, fear.
In the moment, it would be really startling. I'd wonder if I was seeing things or hearing things.
Right. How could I trust that? How could I trust that what I was hearing was truly the voice for God? And so
Well,
we are given a purpose. The body is given the purpose of being a vehicle for the truth that is less fearful. Does that sound right?
Yes.
It's taking
about who they
people
can-
where they are
Yeah.
and speaking so they can hear.
Mhm. A
It's like,
body they can see, a voice they understand and listen to,
Yeah.
without the fear that truth would encounter them. So
and they can come to the place where they can believe it without needing to hear it from another body. And
hence
maybe
the
that's the
storefront.
role of us as a body, is to be able to project those lessons or give those lessons as directed by spirit to
Right.
whoever's able to hear it.
And this is what the purpose of the storefront is,
Aha.
to be
and
that.
I also think that it's more personal than somebody else. I think it's directly related to me and my trust and being able to hear and see with different eyes. And I'm thinking, a long time ago, an image of hearing would have scared the bejesus out of me. Now I think I would be startled, but I think I would welcome it. And I think, the veil is so much thinner now. And we, as seeing ourselves as one, have to see beyond the individual bodies. And I think that's where the one teacher is. One teacher of God is in that wholeness of our unity of mind, wholeness in our intent, not in our individual little forms. But we do need the forms to go through. And we do learn and teach each other. Mostly though, it says, Mary says, when I'm in the right stride, I'm feeling peaceful, irregardless of what's going on. When I'm out of touch with that, everything is just, it's a choice. And we're learning that there really isn't that much choice anymore. It's just like surrender, give it up. But yeah, it's a challenge. And not for my ego to get in the way and think, oh my God, I'm that teacher of God, I have to be perfect. Well, I already am. So anyway, that's all I have to say, that it's in the oneness. I think that teacher is not in the individual person.
Brenda agrees with you.
Thank you. Thank you.
So have any of you had the experience of trying to explain this to someone who's not as knowledgeable about it, and you realize that all you're doing is you're just making the person more fearful? I have that. I try to explain to people what A Course in Miracles is, and what's it about and where it came from and all this stuff. And more times than not, even though I think I'm using the right words, I end up scaring the person I'm talking to. And if I am doing that just with my own human appearance, body, imagine how much more I am capable of scaring someone with a body that can't be seen, with a voice that can't be heard in a normal way. Like this is showing us here, a body they can. Let's try that again. There we go. There we go. I like the one right there. We go. A body they can see, a voice they understand and listen to. And even if I have that body and that voice, and I'm still not able to experience or express the idea of what this love is, imagine. I mean, that would be. I think that I have this body and this voice, because it would be so much harder to communicate this without this body and this voice. In some other way, it would seem like a possession, like quick, call in the exorcist, because it would not make any sense to them.
When we use our voice, our body to communicate, we're presenting thoughts. And thoughts are things that those that are hearing it do not want to hear.
It's true. That's true.
And so what are we? In Sanskrit, human, the HU stands for light, and the man it comes from the word manas, which means mind. We are, in that way, we are pure light. And the mind, there's only one mind, the mind of God. And we don't have to explain it. We just have to shine it. And it's energy, it's spirit. That's who we are. And that's why we're here. And that's why we gather together. And that's why we're one. There is no division. It's not intellectual.
Virginia, thank you very much for being here today.
Thank you. Yes.
It's very important.
Yes. So I don't. When I try to, and I don't try to explain this or express this unless someone has asked me to. If I don't just do it like a cold open. I wait for an invitation. But it's still, when I try to do it as a textbook lesson, as a school book, as a okay, class, sit down, time for listen to the teacher here, I fail miserably.
As do we all.
So the way to express this, the way to teach this, the way as a teacher of God, is not with any words that might be written down or heard or tasted or smelled or whatever. They are with words that are beyond the expression of the human body, and just being those words. Being those words. I am light. I have mind, and I should depend on that only, and wholly depend on that to be the proper way to communicate the truth.
That's right. You're light and your mind, but you're also divine. And how can you express God? How can we only through shining? Only by the way we act and react to others, only by kindness, only by love.
And there can be no attack if there's only love.
That's right. That's when the weapons are put down.
Yes.
That's what in the Bible they say, beat the spears into plowshares.
Yes. Yes. There's that Jimmy has a one of the 12 prayers. I think it's the Jewish prayer that uses that very line, and it's always been my favorite. We will beat our swords into plowshares and our knives into and our spears into pruning hooks. And that is like, oh, I love that image of being able to, and not through any force of you must do this, but it's a voluntary, it's a will thing. I will that happen.
Yes, and doing that, we stop beating ourselves up. Who are we attacking? We're just attacking ourselves.
True. Okay. Number 4. Any volunteers?
I'll read.
Please do.
Yet what makes God's teachers is their recognition of the proper purpose of the body.
Aha! Aha!
As they advance in their profession, they become more and more certain that the body's function is but to let God's voice speak through it to human ears. And these ears will carry to the mind of the hearer messages that are not of this world. And the mind will understand because of their source. From this understanding will come the recognition in this new teacher of God of what the body's purpose really is, the only use there really is for it. This lesson is enough to let the thought of unity come in, and what is one is recognized as one. The teachers of God appear to share the illusion of separation, but because of what they use the body for, they do not believe in the illusion despite appearances.
I knew our brother Jesus would not leave me hanging there. Thank you.
I love this one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let me. Wow.
So helpful.
Yet what makes by God's teachers is the recognition of the proper purpose of the body.
Wonderful.
I feel a fear falling away from me. My fear that I wouldn't know how to do this. I wouldn't understand the way of doing that. Just recognize the proper purpose of the body. Wow. And then he takes it right through the process. They become more and more certain that the body's function is but to let God's voice speak through it to human ears, and the ears will carry to the mind the hearer's message that are not of this world. And the mind will understand because of their source. Because I speak with the guidance of God's voice, that message, it may not hit at the upper level of consciousness of the person hearing it, but it will seep into the mind, and the mind will recognize the true meaning of those words because it will recognize the source of those words. That is trust. I just trust that will happen. I don't have to worry about how I'm doing this or the mechanism, or am I using the right tone of voice, or am I using the right words even? If I'm just using the words that come to me as God speaks through me, I trust those words will communicate to the hearer's mind, because the hearer's mind will understand the source of those words. Somehow deep down inside, those words will speak to the core of what my brother doesn't even know about the truth of itself, himself, herself. This is why we are siblings in Christ. We are joined in the womb. And in the womb, there is no separation. And when we speak of the words of Christ, of the words of God, we speak to that mind in that womb. Beyond what happens after birth, beyond what happens to the human body in the decades that it exists, beyond all that, that truth lies at the center of the mind. And by using the words that God speaks through me, those words trigger the recognition of the source. That's what I get from that. Anybody else? That was too profound, even for myself. I was hoping that somehow the words of the voice of God would speak into my mind, and I just have had that experience that those words just spoke of. I just had that experience. It is
It's mind-boggling. There
Yes.
we go.
So now
It's
you
trust.
see that you
Mhm.
really are a teacher of God.
Mhm.
I'm really surprised that that hasn't been so clear to me before, the times I've read that.
I just wasn't ready for it. That's all.
Yeah.
Now I am. Now I am, and I join you in that unity. All right, let's
Thank you.
go.
Since it was such an important paragraph, should we reread it?
All right, would you do that for us, Judy?
Oh, sure.
All right.
Yes, thank you. Yeah, what makes God's teachers is the recognition of the proper purpose of the body. As they advance in their profession, they become more and more certain that the body's function is but to let God's voice speak through it to human ears. And these ears will carry to the mind of the hearer messages that are not of this world, and the mind will understand because of their source. From this understanding will come the recognition in this new teacher of God of what the body's purpose really is, the only use there really is for it. This lesson is enough to let the thought of unity come in, and what is one is recognized as one. The teachers of God appear to share the illusion of separation, but because of what they use the body for, they do not believe in the illusion despite appearances.
Wow.
Deep breath, everyone. Ready?
Ah,
Oh,
Paragraph 5. Volunteers?
You can do it.
Please do.
Okay. Paragraph 5. The central lesson is always this: that what you use the body for, it will become to you. Use it for sin or for attack, which is the same as sin, and you will see it as sinful. Because it is sinful, it is weak. And being weak, it suffers and it dies. Use it to bring the word of God to those who have it not, and the body becomes holy. Because it is holy, it cannot be sick, nor can it die. When its usefulness is done, it is laid by, and that is all. The mind makes this decision, as it makes all decisions that are responsible for the body's condition. Yet the teacher of God does not make this decision alone. To do that would be to give the body another purpose from the one that keeps it holy. God's voice will tell him when he has fulfilled his role, just as it tells him what his function is. He does not suffer either in going or remaining. Sickness is now impossible to him.
Wow.
Oh, that's kind of like it places this chapter perfectly in line with everything that we've studied up till now. What is healing? Is healing possible? Uh, trust, everything that we've read in the previous 11 chapters comes, this paragraph brings it all perfectly into focus. And not only that, but to me, it actually puts into what it really puts into focus is how I can stop worrying about the body. How any thoughts I have about what my body is doing, what I'm perceiving my body is doing, the condition of my body, all of that I can lay aside now, simply because of the words in that paragraph, for me. The mind makes this decision as it makes all decisions that are responsible for the body's condition. Yet the teacher of God does not make this decision alone. To do that would be to give the body another purpose from the one that keeps it holy. Ha ha ha. God's voice will tell him when he has fulfilled his role. So I don't have to worry about when it's time to lay the body down. God's voice will tell me.
Oh,
What? Yes, Kelly. I'll say that. Say your thought, please.
wow.
Just wow.
That's a very big sentence, Barack.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. God's voice will tell him when he has fulfilled his role, just as it tells him what his function is. God's voice tells me when to open the storefront, who to invite in, what to do with the client once they're in the storefront. All those things that God's voice, the Holy Spirit, will tell me what to do. And in the end, when I have completed that, I can either be directed to move on to the next client, or I can be directed to say, okay, you fulfilled your position here. Time to lay the body down. This body serves no function anymore. You have fulfilled the function of this body. Now it's time for something else. Don't know what that is. I don't think we'll even know until we get to that point. Some say reincarnation, some say moving on to a higher form of existence. All of those things are to be told to us once it is a necessity. If we are told before that, I think that we start giving the body a function then. We start saying, okay, body, you've now got a goal to get to. And then once you do that, don't worry about it. This is what's going to happen. If I start worrying about that, if I start thinking about what I'm going to do after this body is all finished, I think I'm going to start trying to get the body ready for that, or prepare the body, or see the body as a function that is not what it is performing right now. Though we are not here to know what our function is beyond where we are right now. I am here only to be truly helpful. And that being truly helpful has nothing to do with seeing it myself as something other than what I am right now, what I truly am. I know that eventually I am going home to God. This is what I've been promised. But it does not, there is no timetable on that. There is no written schedule for that. The schedule is, how am I going to learn this curriculum? And then how am I going to teach this curriculum? And in what form? Doesn't matter. God's voice will tell me when I have fulfilled my role, just as it tells me what my function is. I have to trust that. I do not suffer either in going or remaining. Sickness is now impossible to me. Suffering is an act of the ego mind. Being truly at peace with God's word and God's will, that is beyond the function of the body. But what that's going to look like, when is that going to come? None of my business. My business is simply to be the instrument for peace. Oneness and sickness cannot coexist. God's teachers choose to look on dreams a while. It is a conscious choice, for they have learned that all choices are made consciously with full awareness of their consequences. The dream says otherwise, but who would put his faith in dreams once they are recognized for what they are? Awareness of dreaming is the real function of God's teachers. They watch the dream figures come and go, shift and change, suffer and die, yet they are not deceived by what they see. They recognize that to behold a dream figure as sick and separate is no more real than to regard it as healthy and beautiful. Oh.
Mhm.
Unity alone is not a thing of dreams. And it is this God's teachers acknowledge as beyond the dream, beyond all seeming and yet surely theirs. Whoa. Hi there.
Right.
I don't believe I am the same being that I was when I started this hour.
It's been transforming. Well, for me.
Yeah.
Say that again, Margaret Rose.
Sorry, it's been transformational. This
Oh, yes,
really transformational today.
yes.
You know, I think
Yes.
that line, they recognize that to behold a dream figure as sick and separate is no more real than to regard it as healthy and beautiful. That's big.
That's powerful.
Very powerful. And therefore seeing if encountering a sibling in Christ and seeing this person as healthy and vibrant, and it's just a body. If I'm looking at the body and seeing that, I'm not seeing my sibling in Christ for who they truly are. There is no body there. There's only the existence of pure God will. And it doesn't matter what form I think that is taking. Tuberculosis, or winning a beauty contest, HIV, or being the healthiest person in the world. Even myself, if I see myself as being magnificently beautiful or incredibly diseased, I am still just seeing my body. I am not allowing myself to perceive the will of God before me. And if that's how I'm projecting myself out of the world, of course I'm going to see the rest of the world that way as well. Until I heal that, until I forgive that perception and say, that is not worthy of the Son of God.
This is particularly helpful for me right now because my sister of my heart, Peggy, and spiritual sister for since the 80s, is passing from cancer. And I saw her yesterday, spent some time together. And the decline in 10 days had been so noticeable. She must be in the low 70s in her body weight at this point. But her spirit is, as we're talking about, and strong in that way. And so it's easier for me now learning to overlook the physical symptoms of the body declining, because her spirit is so strong and so there. And we talk about real things, about this side, that side. So this is so important for me now, that it doesn't matter that her body is in the low 70s. That's not who she is. And holding her at this point with the fullness of her well and beautiful being is a gift for both of us. And I thank you. This lesson is so hugely important for me.
Well, you have also moved to a point in yourself as well. This is a healing for yourself because you are allowing yourself to see that in her.
Yeah.
You know, so the healing comes not from the body, but from the mind that is perceived here, the one mind that is perceived here. I allow myself to see my sibling in Christ as that. And the only way that that is possible to do is by allowing myself to be healed of the thought that there was something wrong to begin with. I am.
Okay.
Yeah, no, please, Karen, go ahead.
And at the same time, as you were talking, Judy, I'm thinking of a couple of people I've lost in the recent year. And yet, and I know that, and I know it in my head, but this physical body misses the hug, the holding, the physical presence. And I have to be careful not to let myself slip into that. I'm close to tears right now, thinking about my sister, for example. And yet I know in the spirit, and I know in the mind, and I know all of that, but this physical body has feelings.
Wants to hug. Yeah.
We're on the road with Leslie. Road trip. Yay.
Thank
You're
you,
muted,
everybody.
Leslie. You're muted.
Thank you, Baraka. Thank you, Virginia. Thank you for bringing this up. Margaret, Mary, Leslie, everybody.
But remember this. Remember that the awareness of that and the healing that that brings has nothing to do with the human body. This has to do with healing the mind of God that is here in this dream. This is our function. This is why we have the storefront, so that we can learn those lessons ourselves. There may be a client in front of us that says, I need help. I want to know what the better way is. But in truth, what we are here to do is to learn that ourselves. I cannot teach that until I learn it. This is my function, to learn how to be a teacher of God.
And not get stuck in the physical tears and pain.
It's
because I know.
Do the tears, do the pain, but understand what they truly are.
I know.
You know, there's nothing wrong with tears and pain if we are allowing unless we're allowing them to be who we are instead of the love that we are. True. Leslie, you better be at a stop sign right now.
I unmute myself. Yes, I was.
Okay. All right.
No, this is fascinating, and I'm listening to as many words as I possibly can. And the way for us to be who we really are, one of the ways is to smile for no reason, you know? Sorry about the noise. There are different ways, and to feel whatever feelings come up. Because as we feel them, really feel them, you know, they will get released. Yes, I believe.
Got that. I hear you. Excellent.
So when I look in the mirror, you know, when I was going through all the health crap, I would go up to the mirror with a smile on my face, tell myself that my physical body doesn't represent me. My smile does, you know, from the heart, you know, that's who I really am.
Thank you, Leslie.
My pleasure.
Any other parting thoughts before we close this down? Because I think I'm out of words.
I just want to say something to Carolyn about the feeling of wanting to cry. And one of my favorite teachers, and maybe you're familiar with this guy too, Panache Desai, he says, you know, emotions are energy in motion. They're meant to be felt. They're meant to be moving through us, not getting stuck in us.
That's
I like that.
helpful. Yeah.
And then it gives a
And
lot
I
of
smile with joy when the red tulip comes up every spring in the middle of my lawn and I say, hi, Mom.
oh, so sweet, Carolyn. Oh, I love that.
She's always there.
That's
Every
so beautiful.
spring I don't plant her.
Wow.
She comes in the same spot.
How beautiful.
Yeah. And when it's time to go, I'm okay to go. I don't have a problem with me going. Me,
Yep.
this body, I mean.
Right.
Where are you
I'm
going?
gonna haunt everybody.
Where are you going? Where are you going? Just
We,
lay
ne-
the
we
body
never
down.
know.
Yeah.
Well, just like the tulip that leaves late in the summer. It's gone.
Right.
But it comes up next year. I'm gonna haunt everybody, so be careful.
If I start seeing red tulips in my front yard, I know I'm gonna know what's happening.
You
I
guys
have
are
one
so
thing.
important to me. I hope you realize that. I really value this, and thank you for instigating this, Baraka.
Oh, I
Definitely a teacher.
just was following. I was only following orders. In
Definitely a God teacher.
well, in truth, this is all Vicky's fault. It really is. She put me up to this.
Well, now, and Vicky is to be credited with this next little bit of information here. For
Yeah.
those of us who I just found out, this week we'll be celebrating the birth of a body that has come into our realm and has grown into be such a dear brother. Whose birthday would that be coming up, I wonder? I wonder who has a birthday. And Karen Palmer suggested that we light a birthday candle, and then Baraka can make a birthday wish. And we'll blow it out.
Oh, I
So shall we
love
sing
that.
the birthday part, the birthday song?
Yeah.
Sure.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you.
Happy
Happy
birthday.
birthday, dear brother Baraka.
Happy
Happy birthday to you.
And many more.
Ready? Oh, you did it.
Happy birthday, Baraka.
Thank you.
Which is the actual day,
20th.
20th. Okay.
presto.
All right.
Baraka, can I just very quickly sing my second verse that I wrote of the birthday song?
Yes, please do.
So simple. It's we love you, we do. We love you, it's true. We love you, dear Baraka. Happy birthday to you.
Sweet.
Oh,
Nice.
that's perfect. I love it.
Oh,
Perfect. Thank you.
It was a little too high for me to hit those notes properly, but you get the picture.
I certainly got the picture.
We do
Yeah.
love you so much, Baraka, and I'm so grateful that you were able to do this, to hear your inner voice and know that this was to be done today. It was very, very powerful.
Thank you. And I am most thankful that all of you hear that same voice.
Mm.
Thank you, because we are all a gift to this world with our energy, with our spirit. And we can take this energy, and I know we can all go out and into this world and be the source for love.
Look at Brenda's beautiful smile. She has been inspired by Leslie.
And
Hi,
Baraka,
Brenda.
thank you so much for your vulnerability. It's very, very helpful to do these lessons, and
Thank you.
wonderful.
Thank you. It is a blessing to be able to extend that. And I find it a blessing to be able to expose that without fear. So thank you all very much for the environment that allows me to do that. All right, kiddos. Let's see here real quick. Let me do one more
We'll
screen
maybe
share.
see you all on Monday.
On Monday. For Jimmy's.
Namaste.
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 All right, here's the subject for next week. What is the real meaning of sacrifice? We're not going to explore any more than that, except to just be aware that that is the thought that is in our mind for the next week. And I look forward to seeing you all right here, same bat time, same bat channel. Thank you all so very much.
thank
Thank
you.
you.
I'm going
Thank
to
you.
just want to say I'm going to be on retreat next week, just a mini retreat. So I will tune in if I can.
Thank you. Thank you. We look forward to that.
In spirit. Love you all.
Love you too.
Bye.
Love
Thank you.
Love you.
Thank you all very
Carolyn,
much.
look up.
Good luck Monday.
Mhm.
Yes.
All while I'm driving.
Ritual.
One-handed heart.
Look around.
Yeah. One-handed heart.
One-handed heart, Leslie.
Oh, what you did there.
Yes, sir. There you go. Just started raining. Bye-bye for now, my lovely friends.
Bye.
Bye.
Now, Baraka.